Hey, awesome people. Welcome back. Mr. C here with you with another fractions video. Make sure if you learn anything new at all, click that like and subscribe button. Join us as we continue making math understandable and challenging. Today's video is going to be focusing on adding mixed numbers with like denominators. All right, we are going to be adding mixed numbers with like denominators using some models. All right, we're going to be using models in this video. As a reminder, like I always say, in the description below you will find all of our 4th grade playlist for fractions and mixed numbers. It is all in the description. We have 3rd grade fractions and we have 2nd grade fractions. Those playlists are linked in the description below. Check those out if you haven't already. Really excited for this video today. We are going to be adding mixed numbers with like denominators using models. Let's get started. Well, ladies and gentlemen, like we always say here at Math with Mr. C, very first thing, growth mindset, okay? Make sure you have a growth mindset, especially for this. We are taking everything we've worked on so far with fractions, everything we've worked on with improper fractions and mixed numbers, and now we are going to be adding them in this video, okay? A growth mindset, make sure that we have it because that means that we're not going to give up when it gets challenging. We're going to look for our mistakes. We're going to use those mistakes to help us get better. We're going to ask questions, but most importantly, you're going to keep trying. All right, so I'm glad you're here. Let's try out this first problem. On the screen here, we've got 1 1/4 plus 2 2/4. And what we're going to be doing in this video is drawing models. And that's something you know I love to say. We're going to be drawing some models because I want you to be able to see what this means when we add them. Okay, you already know what it looks like for 1 1/4. You know what 2 2/4 looks like, but what does it look like when we add them together? All right, so first things first, this is what I want us to do. I want us to draw this, looks like a teal color. All right, let's draw a model for this this mixed number 1 1/4. Okay, so let me get this drawn on the screen. I am going to keep it the teal color so that way it stands out. I got the wrong thing. Give me 1 second. There we go. All right. So we need one whole number, and we know that's going to be divided into 4 equal sections because our denominator tells us there. So there is one whole. Let's shade that in. Shade in that one whole. Remember, that's our whole number. Our mixed number is 1. Now we need to draw 1/4, and again, we've got to draw another model. Ooh, that was bad. Drawing another model to represent what 1/4 looks like. Okay, so let's draw that. Make sure we shade in 1/4. Okay. So shading in 1/4. There we go. So we've got one whole here, and then we've got 1/4 there. Okay, that's where we got the mixed number 1 1/4. Now let's get 2 2/4. You switch over to purple. So now draw a model for 2 2/4. And again, that means we're going to have 2 whole models because our whole number is 2. So here's our first one. There's 1. Draw another one. Here's 2. And then do not forget your fraction in this mixed number. The fraction is 2/4, so make sure you represent it as well. Drawing another model, it's the same size, and then this one we are shading in 2/4. So there's 1/4 and there is 2/4. Okay, track and see if you got lost anywhere. Make sure you know if you did where that mistake is. Okay, so here we go. Here's what our picture looks like, our model. Okay, on the left side of the screen we've got 1 1/4, And on the right side of the screen, we've got 2 2/4. Okay. So now that we can see it, how could we actually solve this? You know, what would that look like to actually solve this? Well, let me ask you a couple of questions here. Okay, let me ask you a couple of questions. I'm going to move this all over a little bit. So if we were to add this, and again, in this video here, we're going to focus on the models. If we were to add this, what do you think we could add? Do you see anything that we could add? Like anything that you notice right off the bat that we could add? Maybe you notice the whole numbers. You're like, you know, Mr. C, I see those whole numbers. We could add those. You know, that's not a bad idea. Here's my question for you. What do you notice about these denominators? Okay, this is something you're going to have to think back to what we talked about when we were adding fractions. And when we were adding fractions, remember, to add a fraction, the denominators, I'll circle them, the denominators have to be what? The denominators have to be the same. Okay, take a look at this. In our mixed numbers, the denominators are the same. That's going to be really helpful for us because that's going to allow us to add because the denominators are the same. Okay, so take a look. What would 1/4 plus 2/4 equal? What would 1/4 plus 2/4 equal? Let's think about that. Actually, you know what? Let's draw it. What would that look like? What would 1/4 plus 2/4 look like? Let's show it on this model. So for teal, we had 1/4. So there's 1 out of 4. And then for the purple, the mixed number 2/4, we had 2 out of 4. So let me shade those in. There's 2 out of 4. How many do y'all see here? What is that? What fraction have we just created when we added those two fractions together? Looks like 3/4 to me, doesn't it? There's 3/4. Okay. Now, this next part, you know, I'm going to show it because I just want to make sure you understand where I'm getting this. But you can probably look at the screen and figure out what our whole number is going to be. All right, I figure you can probably look at it. But like I said, I do want to kind of make sure I talk about it. So we have one whole, and that's in the teal. So I'm going to color in one whole because we want to see what this equals when we're adding all of this up. Okay, so got to color in this whole piece here. There's the teal, so there's the one whole. Now for the mixed number 2 2/4, there were 2 wholes. So I need to draw, whoops, change my color to black. I need to represent 2/4. Not 2/4, excuse me. I'm all over the place right now, people. I need to represent 2 wholes, and that's why I'm drawing this first one. And I need to shade it in purple to represent 2 2/4. So there's one whole from it. We need another whole. All right, I'm going to shade in the whole thing because again, it is a whole number, so the whole model gets shaded in. And there we go. So take a look at this. At the top here, this first model, that's 1. Where do we get it from? From the whole number, 1. It's also right there. Okay. Then we have our 2 purple models. They're whole models. Here they are. There's 1. There's 2. Notice both of them are up here in this whole number, 2 2/4. Okay, that's where we got them. So that gives us 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to erase a couple things here. Get rid of this out of the way. Where did we get 3/4 from? Well, look. There's where the purple came from. And then the teal came from the 1/4 here. We added that up and we got 3/4. So here's what it looks like. Okay, here's what the model looks like. But how would we write it? We know that the fraction is 3/4. Well, what's the whole number? We'll count the whole models, right? Take a look. We've got 1, 2, 3. And there's your answer. Whoops. Let me fix that real quick. There we go. All right, there is the answer, 3 and 3/4. So if you take 1 and 1/4 and you add 2 and 2/4, you add these two models together, this is the picture you get, and here's your answer, 3 and 3/4. Okay, again, that's a lot of work. Some of you probably were looking at this and saying, you know what, Mr. C, I could tell right off the bat that 1 plus 2 equaled 3. And you know what, you're exactly right. But what you're going to come to find out, and you're going to find out in our challenge video, is what happens if, when you add the fractions, what if it's an improper fraction? Okay, and that's something we're going to work on later on. But right here, I want you to make sure you can see what we're talking about. Okay, so ask yourself, you know, where did you make a mistake at? Where are you confused? Where did you get lost? Pause the video, go back to it, try it out on your own. Remember, don't give up. Okay, this is a new little concept here. It takes practice. Stick with it. Try another one with me. Okay, let's try another one. Second problem here on the screen for us, ladies and gentlemen, and we've got 3 and 2/5 over here on the left in the orange, plus 1 and 1/5. Okay, so just like we did in that last one, let's draw some models, starting with 3 and 2/5. So we are going to need a whole number of 3, and we are going to need denominators 5, so we need 5 equal sections in each of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Remember, we're shading in the whole thing because the whole number in our mixed number is 3, so we need 3 whole models. Okay, so there's 1. Here is our second one. And remember, you don't have to use a rectangle like I am using in my models. It's the easiest one for me. My brain does the best whenever I kind of draw it this way. Plus, I'm a lot neater whenever I draw it this way, okay? Some of you, circles may work better. Some of you, squares may work better. Whatever you're using, just make sure you can understand it, okay? Make sure you can read it. If you can't read it, it doesn't really help you a whole lot, okay? And that's something I had to practice too, because my handwriting and all that wasn't that great, and it's something I have to keep working on, okay? So here's my 3 whole numbers, 1, 2, 3. As you can see, there's my whole number 3. Now I need to deal with the fraction. The fraction is 2/5. So let's draw another model here. Give me a second. Fix that. So drawing our fractional model, we need to color in 2/5. So here is 1/5, and here is 2/5. There we go. All right, would you agree that the orange models match the mixed number 3 and 2/5? Okay. Now we are going to add the blue mixed number. The blue mixed number is 1 and 1/5. So let's draw that. Here we go. 1 whole, shade in the whole thing. Make sure I got 5 equal sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very good. Shading it in. And there is our whole number 1. Now let's get our fraction up here. The fraction is 1/5. So that means 1 out of the 5 equal size fractional parts needs to be shaded in, and there we go. All right, that one was a lot quicker. So notice we've got 3 and 2/5 here on the left. We've got 1 and 1/5 here on the right, and now what we're going to do is we're going to draw our model that represents when we add them together. Okay, when we take 3 and 2/5 and we add 1 and 1/5, what do we get? Okay, so let's start off with these whole numbers this time. Okay, let's add up these whole numbers. Let's see what happens here. So let's draw, we need 3 orange models. Okay, so we need 3 orange ones. So here we go. We need 3 orange models. Oh, before I add, oh my gosh, I already saw that, Mr. C. Get it out of here. Get it out of here. All right. I was ahead of myself. What did you notice about the fractions? Okay, what did you notice about the fractions? Are the denominators the same for the fractions? Yes, okay. The denominators are the same. That means that we are going to be able to add them without any extra steps, okay? Forgot to point that out. Denominators are the same, so that means we can add them without any extra steps, okay? All right, now let's get back to it. Let's add these whole numbers. So we are adding 3 orange whole numbers. So we have 3 wholes that need to be shaded in orange. So here is 1. Here is 2. And again, the reason that we're doing this is because it's really important that you can see what we're talking about. You know, that's what we talk about all the time here at Math with Mr. C. I don't want you to just be really good at just like solving them. You know, I could just show you how to solve them. But what I want you to be able to do is understand what that looks like. What does that mean when we're adding 2 mixed numbers? When we add 2 mixed numbers, what does that actually look like? Okay, and that's really important to understand. So that's what we're doing. So I've got my 3 whole numbers that are orange, 1, 2, 3. How many blue whole models do I need? I need 1. So let's draw 1 model that's going to be completely shaded in blue to represent our whole number in 1 1/5. There we go. All right. So we've got all of our whole numbers. 3 orange for our whole in the 3 2/5. 1, 2, 3. 1 whole in the 1 1/5 right there. What do we have left? We have our fractions. So let's add up our fractions. Let's start with the orange. The orange fraction is 2/5. So let's shade in 2/5. There's 1/5 and there is 2/5. Okay, what's next? What else do we need to represent? We need to represent 1/5. So there is 1/5. Take a look at our model. Take a look at the whole thing. What are you noticing? All right, what are you noticing? Did we get everything? Did we draw everything correctly? Let's see what our final answer is going to be. Okay, let's start off with our whole number. How many whole do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Forgot to switch it over to the pencil. There we go. There's 4. And what is our fraction in our mixed number? Count them up. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5. Answer for 3 2/5 plus 1 1/5 equals 4 3/5. So again, this strategy here, this method takes a long time, all right? But remember, being able to understand what you're actually doing and being able to see it is really important, because eventually, once you can see what we're doing here, you're not going to have to do this, okay? And I'm going to show you what I mean by that later on, but right now it's really important to be able to see what we're talking about. When you see a mixed number, how do you actually add that? What does that mean to add it? And this is what it means. It means to be able to take these models, these 3 2/5, and break it up into whole numbers, and break it up into a fraction, break it up into a whole number, break it up into a fraction, add all of the whole numbers, add the fractions, and this is what it looks like. Okay, and again, it's one of those things, it takes practice, so do not give up. Ask yourself, where did you get confused at? At what spot did you get stuck? Did you make a mistake? Where is that mistake? Okay, look for them, try some on your own, ask some questions, rewatch this video, but do not give up. All right, when you're ready, in the description below, you will find our practice problems video. Check that out. We've got a couple more examples we are going to do together, okay? Thanks for tuning into this video. If you learned anything new at all, make sure you click that like and subscribe button. Join us as we continue making math understandable and challenging. That's all I have for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. C, out.